Yo, yo, yo. Welcome to Bucko Brew, powered by DeFair Coffee and Tea. I'm your host, Anthony DiNardo. With me, of course, we have the Jim Rosati. Jim, happy Monday.
Happy Monday from Chicago, Illinois.
That's right.
Central time. So, again,
I
had to get up at
6 a.m.
Yes, I had to get up a little bit earlier.
How you doing, though, today?
I'm doing okay. It was a fun weekend. We somehow Tyler took a vacation.
I know. You got time to take a vacation.
Yeah, the guy who never leaves his, small town of Lisbon, Ohio. Got to go to the big city this weekend. Tyler in the big city. Yep.
Yeah, I can't imagine how interesting that was.
It wasn't too bad. It was good. You can tell that Tyler's not used to people, but
he's not used to people.
Yeah. Like they were just but it was a good time. It was a good time.
Right. Awesome. Yeah. I mean, obviously you guys went to the Cubs games. That was fun. And again, just to witness Tyler in the wild. I'm sad I missed out on that, but glad you guys had fun. Glad you guys were there. Pirates fans are disappointed that you were there because the Pirates lost 3 out of 4 and all 4 winnable games. Hey, no 21-0 loss, though. I guess there's that. But no, I mean, frustrating series. How frustrating was it to be there live watching it?
Yeah, it's just there was just no offense for prolonged period of times in almost every game that they played. It was pretty frustrating to watch. I guess they were quick games. Like the games moved along quickly. So I guess being there wasn't too bad because it was the pain didn't last very long. But yeah, it was an impressive performance offensively by the Pirates once again. Impressively bad. Like the fact that it's just the same thing over and over again. Their starting pitching that they got this series was incredible. And they just didn't do anything with it.
Yeah. It's I don't know, like on this side of things too, like it's just so frustrating because it's the same story. I mean, Doug and I joked about it on Saturday. If you hear the same show on Sunday, just replace Burrows with Keller. We jokingly said it. It's literally what happened. It came to fruition. It was a 3-2 ball game where essentially like the same story. It was the same story. I mean, it's just getting so redundant now to talk about the same thing over and over again. And man, you are right. The starting pitching, it arrived. It showed up. They came to shut things down, and they did. Right? 12 runs to the Cubs. I'm sorry, 9 runs to the Cubs. No, 12.
They gave up 9 runs.
Yeah, it was 9.
Over 4 games. Yeah.
Again, crazy to think about.
And that's the entire pitching staff. Gave up 9 runs in 4 games, and somehow they lost 3 of those.
No, it was 12 because it was 4 games. 3, right?
No.
3 runs. They gave up
3. They didn't give up 3
2,
runs.
3.
Yeah, they didn't give up 3 runs every time.
Oh, that's right. That's right. It was 2. Oh my God, you're right. I'm thinking it was 3 a game. It was 2. That's right. It was 2, and then they scored the 3rd.
Yeah. There were 9 runs given up by pitching.
Yeah. I mean, I did the post game was saying that yesterday. And I'm like, no, that can't be right. That sounds too good.
3, 2, 3. Well, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
3,
you're
1,
right.
2, 3.
You're right. I'm thinking it was 3 a game. No,
the Pirates offense scored 2, 2, 1, and 2.
Yeah. It's frustrating, man. I'll tell you what. Let's brighten the morning up just a tad, just for a quick second here. Let's all tell you about DeFair Coffee and Tea because I love DeFair Coffee and Tea. Again, have the subscription. They're sending the coffee to me every month. Stuff's good. I'm actually not drinking it right now. I'll admit that. But the Fair is a family and employee-owned and operated business. They believe that coffee and tea are one of life's simplest and most accessible pleasures, and when enjoyed thoughtfully, can open your eyes to the here and now. They have 5 locations across the city of Pittsburgh, including their flagship in the heart of Pittsburgh's historic Strip District. Jim, just to fact check, is that actually historic?
Yeah, the Strip District is historic.
I just want to make sure we're clear on that. I don't want to, overstate something here. So yes, in the Pittsburgh's historic Strip District. To learn more, check us out on Instagram or head over to the website at defair.coffee. Of course, that is DEFER.coffee. And Jim, what code can you use to get 30% off your first purchase online?
NS930, NS930.
Boom. Boom. Go get yourself 30% off your first purchase, like I did and Jim did.
Yeah, I wish I had some DeFair coffee right now. We don't have that here in Chicago, and because it's so early, I didn't even get coffee yet. So coffee will be an after show thing. So somehow my math was better than yours, and I've gotten no caffeine so far today.
I couldn't believe the math. That's all. I did the math in my head. I was like, nope, couldn't have been 9 and 4. No, it was. That's how good the pitching was. So, yeah, like I said, let's kind of recapping here this Cubs series a bit, and I don't know, anything fun at Wrigley Field happened for you?
So I mean, I'll say this: like the Pirates were, and this is again, I don't think as this as me giving them any sort of credit, but like they were in every single game. It was a 1-run game every single time. Like they at least made the games somewhat exciting. Like these games all came down to the end essentially. So that was it made for some entertaining baseball, but it was just like CL mentions in the comments, it was a microcosm of the season. Like good starting pitching, good bullpen, and just not being able to do anything offensively. I feel like this weekend too, it wasn't even that they weren't taking advantage of opportunities. They just didn't even really get any opportunities. Like they not only were they not hitting when there were men on base, but they just couldn't even get anyone on base. Like I feel like all weekend long, it wasn't a matter of they're like sometimes they'll have those games where they're like 0 for 9 with runners in scoring position. I feel like there wasn't any of that this weekend. It was like, they're 1 for 3 or they're 0 for 4. Like there were just weren't chances that they had all weekend. And they did hit some balls hard, and the wind at Wrigley Field is a very real thing. Like there were some balls hit yesterday that I think would have been homers on like a normal day for both sides, and they stayed in the park. So the wind, I think, played a little bit of a role in the scoring being so low, but man, it was rough all series long, just not being able to get anything going.
That's for sure. And again, you were there, you witnessed it live. We watched it on TV, but I don't know, man. Like you said, if you love pitching, like really good series, and we do, but still, like you also love victories, and you only had 1 out of the 4. I mean, that would be something different. Like if at least somehow or another, again, all they had to do was score 3 runs, basically every game.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like they couldn't do that. But again, yeah, Wrigley Field again, especially Tyler being there the first time. I wish Tyler was on here right now because I'd love to like pick his brain. Like, how did you enjoy Wrigley Field and this stuff? But maybe talk for Tyler or like
Tyler.
again.
Tyler was a huge fan of the in-seat ordering. He took advantage of that.
Right.
I think he had the same guy delivering him his Michelob Ultras like all weekend long. So he was happy about that. The guy by the end of the weekend, he knew Tyler. And he was like, "Hey, Tyler, got your Michelob Ultra." So he was just getting Michelob Ultras delivered to his seat all game long. So he was a big fan of that technology.
Time out, right? The guy who hates people befriended the Michelob Ultra guy. Obviously, if that's not the Tyler of Tyler stories, hate people. I bet he gave him a huge tip too. Again, knowing Tyler,
probably, yeah. Because it was
awesome.
the same guy every time towards the end there. So,
God, I love Tyler.
Yeah, he was a
All
fan.
right.
He was a fan of that.
Well, Jim, maybe we can move forward. Now, just for everyone to know, of course, we're going to preview the Tiger series here. We're going to have Anthony Murphy on a little later on the show, too, talk about some Pirates prospects. But I think we want to talk about maybe zone in on some Pirates prospects right now, with us and have a conversation. Because I think we're at the point, for sure, this season. I mean, let's look at it this way. Don Kelly took over as manager, right? What has changed from this roster since he's taken over? Like, what have they support him with? What are they shaking up? Not much. Tommy Pham got his 10 years of service, and maybe I'll excuse them holding on to Tommy Pham for that purpose. But that's done now. That's over with now. We see this offense is nothing, right? The Chicago Cubs series doesn't point that out. Maybe it's time to shake things up. So I think we should talk about maybe some players that the Pirates could potentially call up to do so. Do you think this is worth it? Do you think there's some players that the Pirates maybe could potentially bring up right now to maybe shake things up and add some offense to this team?
I will say this, like, since Kelly's taken over, they have shaken things up a little bit, right? I mean, you added Spencer Horwitz to this group. You've added Nick Gonzalez to this group. So, like, there's been moves that have been made
I guess that's fair,
to
but
make
those
this
were
team
coming.
better. And then the bullpen too has been shorn up. Like, I mean, adding Ashcraft, adding Majinski to this bullpen, I feel like are definitely positive signs. But I guess if the question is like, am I done watching Tommy Pham? Like, yeah, like my answer is yes. Like, let's see anybody else at this point. I don't know what he has to offer anymore. This team is clearly not going to the playoffs. This team needs to find some answers for the rest of the year. And now they need to win some ball games too, because there's people whose jobs are on the line, but they also need to figure out some things. So yeah, let's figure some things out. Jack Suwinski's been hitting the ball a little bit better in AAA lately. You I guess you're talking about Billy Cook. I think I still need to see a little bit more out of Billy Cook. Still need to see a little bit more out of Nick Yorke. But like, if what you're asking me is it time to give Jack Suwinski another shot over Tommy Pham? I guess sure. Like, it's not like I have much faith in Jack Suwinski at this point, but if you're looking at guys to shake things up, like, he is the one down there who's hitting the ball pretty fairly well at this moment in time. He's gotten 2 homers this week, a couple doubles. So, like, maybe you go that route, but I don't really know if you're solving anything by doing that, I guess is my point. I don't know if there's anything that I'm necessarily looking forward to seeing right now at all. Like, at all.
Well, damn. And I think that is part of the problem. That's what Doug and I were talking a little bit yesterday, but I don't want to go too deep into that on a post game show. But right, I mean, like, so part of the problem is it's not as if there's some major talent waiting in AAA that's like, tearing it up, or even remotely, not remotely, but I mean at least solidly looking like, okay, this is the guy to call up.
Mhm.
There's 3 guys I think right now that you can talk about and discuss. 2 of them are players that they traded for last year in Nick Yorke and Billy Cook. And then one, of course, is, like you mentioned, Jack Suwinski, who's been up and down this ball club, has shown signs of success, have shown signs of, will he ever be a major league baseball player? Um, I think they all come with like their case. Nick Yorke has been tearing it up. Like, he's been hitting the ball, making good contact, but he's not really hitting for power, not really getting on base a ton. Billy Cook's coming more alive, but no power. And that's like Billy Cook's power calling card, I should say. Like, he has to have some type of power. Jack Suwinski, though, seems to be playing a lot better. And the reason I think this is notable, hear me out. to this degree. When Jack Suwinski sucked, call it what it is, one of the worst players in baseball, he also sucked in AAA. He was still striking out a ton, not hitting for average. I mean, he was just not a good hitter in AAA as well. Completely struggling there also. Jack's playing better. He's been down there quite a bit, right? Since an arbitrary number, right? But since May 1st, he is hitting 250, 338, slugging 491, right? A 117 weighted runs created plus in AAA. Now, it's nothing to like hang your hat on, like, okay, Jack's tearing it up, bring him up, because we understand the difference in AAA to the major leagues, right? We understand how that's not blowing the doors off of AAA saying come up here. So, yeah, 17% better, but does that probably translate to like a good major leaguer? We'll find out, I guess. But it's not as if like he's just tearing it up. And again, like the 29% strikeout rate is still kind of concerning for Jack in AAA. But he is playing better, and he's playing better recently. Like he's really kind of caught fire this past week or so. So that's why I do bring this up. Again, Tommy Pham is just, it's not the guy. It's time to move on. You got your 10 years. It's time to move on. Is it almost time to just say, okay, like Nick, Billy Cook, you guys are still just whatever, stay down there. Jack, it's time for you to come up, because it's coming to be do or die for Jack Suwinski.
Sure. I mean, I guess if you want to give Jack Suwinski one more shot, like this can be it. I don't know how many more chances you can give the guy. I feel like you've given him quite a few over the last couple seasons, and he just hasn't been able to do anything with it. But yeah, I mean, at this point, I'm good to see anyone else other than Tommy Pham. I'm good to see anybody else. And if that's Jack Suwinski, sure. I don't think it's time to see like Billy Cook. Like Billy Cook hasn't hit at all, I feel like. I mean, you can say he's coming on strong, but like the dude hasn't homered all year in AAA. Like I don't know where his power is gone.
And that's wild. Like, yeah,
yeah.
Like, what happened to Billy Cook?
Like no power at all. And like you talk about even like Nick Yorke coming on strong. It's like, I mean, he's been like barely above league average since May 1st. Like that's when everybody's like, oh, he turned it on May 1st. Well, Nick Yorke has a 106 weighted runs created plus in AAA since May 1st. Like, let's see him continue to do it. Like he needs to do better. And but like I said, I'm at the point now where I'd rather see anybody out there than Tommy Pham. Just Tommy Pham's clearly not the answer. Let him go. Let's find out more about these guys that we have. And so I think we all know who Jack Suwinski is at this point. But if you want to give him one more shot, then this is it.
Yeah.
It's just there's just not a lot of they just don't have, like when you talk about reinforcements, there just aren't any.
Right. But yeah, I kind of talk about them. Like, I mean, I know what you're saying, and as I'm saying, like all of them have a case. They certainly have a case against them. But to talk about Nick Yorke, like you mentioned, like the 106 weighted runs created plus he has. I mean, he is hitting 308 since May 1st. He's only striking out 17.5% of the time. The guy's making good contact. That's what he is. He's a contact guy. Like he's not going to hit for a ton of power anyways, right? I know you can argue, is this enough contact? It's going to translate to the major leagues, blah, 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 whatever. Contact's his calling card. I don't know. But like he is performing better. He's making good contact. He's getting on for average. Again, not striking out. He's doing those things. He can play the corners. He can play left field, right? He can play second base. I think first base experiment's done. So we'll get that out of there. But I say that because it's something where like maybe IKF gets a day off, you slide over Nick Gonzalez, you put him at second. Like he's going to get opportunities for at bats. I think that's something that's important as well. Jack, it's less. Jack, if he's not getting everyday at bats, if that makes sense, like you're not as worried maybe. You can find ways to get his bat in there, of course, with his outfield. But like with Nick Gonzalez, there's multiple positions you can play him at, so he can get more or less some everyday at bats. Billy Cook, almost like the same example. First base for him. You can play outfield for him as well, right? So there's some multiple position flexibility to make sure that the bats are getting in there. So you're not calling up a guy who maybe Nick Yorke more again, realize people, but like Billy Cook's 26 years old. It's not as if this is a young kid you're trying to still develop. I mean, he's 26 years old. It's time to put up or shut up for him also to some level. But yeah, like there's ways you can get their bats into the lineup. But like with Billy Cook, yeah, when he started off the season, I mean, he struggled very, very harshly, just striking out a ton, not hitting the baseball. But like, again, May 1st for everyone. I mean, Billy Cook's batting .316 since May 1st, getting out base at .394 on base. Like the guy's hitting the ball really well right now. It's just the slugging's .368. His slugging is lower than his on base percentage. Billy Cook was the guy. It's like, I mean, we saw he has real pop, but he's not doing that. It's like his case is like he is hitting now, but it's no power at all. Like you said, not one home run in AAA this year. Billy Cook?
Strikeout numbers are up. Yeah, I mean, it hasn't been a great season for him. Yeah, I mean, since May 1st, since that arbitrary point, like it's been better, but you still can't look at that AAA slash line and feel good about it. I don't think. So yeah, I said that's the problem that the Pirates are in right now is just they've got one guy who's banging down the door in AAA, and honestly, it's Nick Solak. Like he's the guy who's crushing the ball, and they called him up for 3 weeks and he couldn't see the field over Tommy Pham and Jared Triolo.
Right.
So it's
and he himself went like what 1 for 10.
Yeah, I mean it was something like that. They played him I think 3 times over the course of 3 weeks. So it's like
right.
And I'm not here advocating that like this team needs to call up Nick Solak and play Nick Solak. If you're looking for someone who's hitting better down there, like that's it. That's it. Suwinski's been hot lately, so I guess if you want to give him another shot, sure. But there just isn't much. There isn't much down there. But like I'm not gonna hold anybody back and say we shouldn't call up Nick Yorke, we shouldn't call up Billy Cook, because at this point I'm cool with seeing anybody other than Tommy Pham. I don't think those two are going to be the answer. Just like I don't think Jack Suwinski is going to be the answer. I don't think any of these guys are the answer to this team's offensive woes. They're just, unfortunately, they made their bed here in the offseason.
Right.
There's no one.
So are you even, I want to hear your point. Are you leaning towards Solak? Just keep the 3 in the AAA right now and bring up Solak.
I guess if I have to call somebody up, I'm calling Suwinski up.
Okay.
But it's like, here's your last chance type deal.
Yeah. Fair. Just to kind of bring up a comment here. Stop blaming Pham. He's a problem, but no one is hitting Cruz 2 for 12 this series. Triolo, Sullivan, Hayes are all terrible. I mean, hey, what have we said? This offense sucks. Like, we understand all that. The problem, I shouldn't say the problem, but like you're not replacing Cruz. And obviously, first off, Cruz is still 20% above average hitter. Like Cruz has struggled, yes. You're not replacing Cruz. You're not replacing Brian Hayes, unfortunately, on this roster. Like that's just not happening. Pham, you can. He needs to go. It's not like you're blaming Pham. It's just he's replaceable. He's not part of the future. He needs to go. So yes, everyone needs to hit. They suck. We understand that. That's the problem with this team.
And like when it comes to Cruz, I'm not going to blame the one guy who's doing something offensively all season long because he went 2 for 12 in a series. Like,
right.
That's 2 more hits than a lot of guys. 2 more hits than a lot of other guys had. So, like I said, it's one of those deals where I'm not going to blame the one guy who's been actually leading them offensively all season long. The problem isn't that Cruz went 2 for 12. The problem is that this team doesn't have enough hitters like O'Neal Cruz.
Yeah.
They have way too many guys who cannot hit. And Todd, you named them. I mean, Jared Triolo has not hit. Brian Hayes has not hit. Like, neither of those two guys have hit at an acceptable level.
Brian Reynolds has not hit. That's I mean, you really want to the one you left off is really the one that you want to point your finger at. Brian Reynolds has not hit. He has to. Brian Hayes really hasn't shown for a long enough stretch in the major leagues that he can do this. You know, Triolo hasn't really proven it. Brian Reynolds needs to hit. That's the one guy you really want to put something on someone. It's Brian Reynolds.
Yeah. I mean, this everybody's like, June, Brian Reynolds, time to heat up. And he had that like 2-week stretch towards the end of May.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's just kind of reverted back to what he was doing beginning of the year. It hasn't been good for Brian Reynolds at all. He's had a good 2-week stretch so far this season, and that's it. Like OG says here, we're halfway through June, and June Reynolds is nowhere to be seen. Like, it's his worst season. And I mean, you want to throw 2020 in the mix because that was terrible for him too. But like, this is just as bad.
Right. You know, I haven't like looked at his actual June so far. He's hitting 180. He's hitting right now worse in June than he's hit in any other month so far. Wow. Yeah. 53 weighted runs created plus. He had a 76 to start the year. In May, it went to 102. And again, that was really because that the past like week and a half, he really caught fire. And that's why you thought, okay, he's getting ready. He's preparing for this June Reynolds. June's his worst month so far at 53 weighted runs created plus. June Reynolds is batting 160, 263, slugging 280 in June. Again, you really want to point a finger at somebody, it's Brian Reynolds.
Yeah. Like, I mean, he's just been so bad. In this offense, again, it's not good enough to have one of the 3 guys in there that are supposed to be good be bad.
And again,
you
that's
can't.
The problem.
You can't have. I mean, this offense had what, 3 people last year basically finish above average, 4 with Bart.
I think it was 4. Yeah,
you had four hitters coming into this year that put up an above average season offensively in 2024. And so when one of those guys is hurt, and Joey Bart, and the other one just completely flops. We were talking about how bad this offense was last year, and it's the exact same story now.
It's worse.
Yeah, it's worse.
It's not really quite the same story. It's worse.
And like,
how do you get worse? You were the 3rd worst offense in baseball last year. It's year 6. Like, this is the year you're supposed to compete, supposed to do something, and your offense got worse. Yeah, O'Neal Cruz, a 118 weighted runs created plus right now. O'Neal Cruz is batting 223, 345, slugging 445. He has 13 home runs, 25 stolen bases. Andrew McCutchen, a 112 weighted runs created plus. He's batting 263, 349, 410, 7 home runs, 1 stolen base. That's it. That's your hitters who are hitting above average on this team. 22 total position players on this season. 2 are hitting league average or higher. And it's O'Neal Cruz and the guy who had to call Bob Nutting and say, hey, can you please sign me for dirt cheap? Andrew McCutchen. That's it. So to go back to the point
is that really
you're making, that's it. If you really want, like, again, why we don't really harp so much on O'Neal Cruz and Andrew McCutchen, because yes, O'Neal has to play better than what he is doing. He has struggled recently. They're the only 2 that are doing something. The other 20 guys of the 22 that have taken an at-bat this year have failed, and typically failed miserably. Yeah, that's it, Jim.
That's actually insane.
Your third best hitter on the team is IKF at a 93 weighted runs created plus.
Yeah, this is rough.
That's your third best hitter.
You're not going to win that way. You can't win that way. I mean,
No.
I was under the impression that like Gonzalez was maybe still above 100, but yeah,
Mm-mm.
not anymore. That's crazy. Yeah, no one who has taken it at bat this year outside Cruz and Kutch is posting league average offense.
Nope. Team's dead last in runs. So again, Fam's not like, you can't blame the entire thing on Fam. We honestly get that. That's like, Fam's not the problem, right? The guy who brought in Fam's the problem, but Fam also isn't going to be here long term. He needs to go. Let's start seeing some of the other guys that are going to put up their 70 weighted runs created pluses on this team to fit in, so we can say that there definitely isn't any future. But yeah. So again, I know maybe I know we're harsh on Fam. Again, it's the Van Meter thing all over again. Like, it's not, well, kind of is, like, he has been bad too. Like, but it's more of the guy who constructed this roster's fault and why he's being scapegoat for a lot of issues. But yeah, like, if you're gonna call someone up, you're not DFAing to Brian Hayes to do so. You're not DFAing, Brian Reynolds to do so. It's gonna be Tommy Pham. Any rate,
Yep.
yeah, that was fun. I enjoyed this conversation.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was that bad. It really is. It's that bad. How
Adam
bad are the
Frazier
Rockies, though? The
is
Rockies must
tied
be.
with Brian Reynolds.
Yeah. How bad are the
82 runs
Rockies,
created plus.
though?
10 runs yesterday. An implosion.
Yeah, but I mean, I can't even imagine. I mean, the Pirates are 29th in baseball with a 78 weighted runs created plus. The Rockies have a 70. So the Rockies are 10% worse than the Pirates somehow offensively. That's honestly incredible. I guess that's how you.
I
I
mean,
guess
they
that's
do
how
get
you
that
go.
Denver tax on them.
Yeah, but I mean, that's a real thing. So
It is. But yeah.
So that's rough. That's rough. I
Yep.
feel bad for them because I feel bad for us. So that's got to be way worse.
But that Clint's back. He's the hitting coach. He scored 10 runs yesterday.
There you go. Bench coach Clint Hurdle.
That's right. I'm sorry. That's right.
Yeah.
Hitting coaches in the past. He's moving on up. Right. Is that enough of that?
I think that's enough of that.
All right. Let's go ahead and flip this thing over. Let's bring on Anthony Murphy. Let's talk some other prospects, maybe some that are exciting to talk about, not to lead to more disappointing conversation. Anthony Murphy, what's up, my guy?
What's going on, guys?
What's up, Murph?
Loving life.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, thanks for hopping on. Yeah, I guess we just want to discuss a few guys in the system who this is your segment to kind of talk about the people who maybe either aren't being talked about enough or they are being talked about a ton, and we need to talk about them even more. So, who are some outstanding prospects from the system this past week, Murph?
Well, I think one guy that I wanted to bring up is a guy that I've kind of been trying to hype out a lot this season, all the way down to the complex. But Edward Florentino is kind of clicking on all cylinders down there in the complex. Right, he's batting over 500 in the month of June. He was like a double short of the cycle the other day. 14 hits this month, a couple doubles, 3 home runs. Hasn't stolen a base this month, but does have 4 on the season. So a little bit of a dual threat there right now. And I think he's working his way up there as one of the better hitting prospects. And I know it's hard to get excited about maybe like an 18-year-old in the complex, but everything that I've seen or everything I've seen from him, like I saw him a lot in spring. I saw him a lot while I was down there to begin the complex year. Just a very advanced approach, lots of power. Been catching some of the streams. The exit velocity numbers for an 18-year-old, really impressive. He's had quite a few, 100 plus. So I think he's a very exciting guy to watch, and someone I'd expect to be in Bradenton at some point coming soon.
I think the thing that stands out to me is the power numbers already at this point. 25 games played and 6 home runs. You typically, I feel like, don't see those sort of power numbers in the
Not
complex
complex.
league too much, because you're dealing with some really young bats who, maybe the bat speed and the exit velocities aren't as big as what you see when those rise up through the ranks. So yeah, I mean, 6 homers through 25 games, and then adding 4 doubles and 2 triples to that. Yeah, I mean, he's slugging 671 right now, which,
And I think he could do a better job of elevating the ball too. So there still could be some untapped power potential there for him once he gets, which like at 18 years old, like elevating the ball more isn't like anything that's too uncommon with most hitters at that point. So if he starts elevating more, then you'll start seeing the power show in game even more than it already is. So
good stuff. Is he someone you think will finish the complex league and then get bumped up to Bradenton, or do you see them maybe being a little more aggressive with him?
So it's like an interesting situation down there too, because Bradenton, like when the week started, they had like 2 bench players after like promoting like Connor Griffin and Will Taylor. So there's room there for them now. Like they had like Chase Bowen, Sammy Ciani, and Malcolm Nunez all like played most of the week, like rehab in there. So that kind of filled it out. But as they move on, that's going to kind of create the space for them there. I could see a scenario like they haven't been shy to move some of the complex kids up before the complex seasons end. I mean, they already did that with Wyatt Sanford. They've done it with like Lonnie White and De Los Santos and stuff like that in previous seasons. So I could definitely see him get up there before. But I think also the thing to remember too is that he's 18. He'll be 18 the entire year. So like if he plays the entire, even if he comes up a little bit early and then he finishes out in Bradenton, probably the odds are he still starts next year in Bradenton before moving up to Greensboro. So if that's like the timeline that they have for him, maybe they just let him finish out the year in the complex, which I don't think would be a bad. He's like I said, he's 18. So
Gotcha. Okay. So Edward Florentino, which, I mean, that's good news. That's a guy that kind of everybody was supposed to have on their radar heading into this year as kind of the main guy coming over from the DSL. So who else this week do we want to talk about?
I mean, I know all the eyes was on Connor Griffin and how he did in Greensboro. I mean, we can talk about that more if you guys want, but also Esmer and Valdez had, for as good a week as Connor Griffin had, Valdez probably had a better week overall. I mean, he's not going to steal the bases like Connor Griffin's going to steal, but 13 hits last week, 4 doubles, a home run, walked more than he struck out, which that's always kind of like, when we talk about him, that's the big thing that I bring up, the strikeouts and stuff like that, keeping the strikeouts down. And he's just, they have him out in the outfield pretty much exclusively right now, trying to get him accustomed and better and stuff like that. So just for as good a week that, all eyes on Connor, like Valdez still hitting almost every day kind of thing. So
I love
I don't think he hasn't
Esmeralda.
really gone through a slump yet this year.
I think he's maybe had like one roughish week, and even then he probably hit a home run or 2 in there. So like even when he's like striking out, when he has struck out, like he's still getting a hold of at least 1 or 2 that week. So
yeah. Esmeralda, 22 home runs last year in 107 games, 16 so far this year in 61. I know it's Greensboro, but still, he's exciting and like a great follow on social media, I have to say.
Yeah.
I feel like people are falling in love with him. Yeah. How legit of a prospect is he like truly becoming right now?
So like there's 2 ways to think of it with Valdez. There's, because I see a lot like in your guys' Discord with and all that stuff, people want to know why he's not like a top 30 prospect and stuff like that. almost to an extent like that same Tamar Johnson conversation because of the position he plays, because of the profile that he has. He's not one of those guys that usually finds his way high up on prospect list. He's more than likely a first baseman. He's a right-handed first baseman, so that like then there's always the risk of like if he can't hit righties, he's on the weak side of a platoon playing first base. So there's not a lot of value there. But what he does have is probably some of the loudest power in the system. And however you want to do it, you're going to find a spot. If you could hit 20, 25 home runs, and you're going to find a spot in the majors. They'll find a spot for you. If he's a DH, he's a DH. If he's a first baseman, he's a first baseman. Power plays, you need power. They'll find a way to put it in the line. So even if he's not highly ranked on prospect list, he's still a guy that can bring some value as long as like the contact gets into a position to where you can continually move through the system.
Good to hear.
So,
yeah, I'm a big Valdez fan. Hopefully he can keep moving up. The one thing this system could use is a power hitting first baseman. I'm not sure if they've ever used one of those really since Josh Bell. So that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
How about some pitchers? Any pitchers we want to highlight this week?
Well, I know. I mean, not the flashiest stat line, but it looks like Carlson Reed keeps kind of working his way back to full health. He got up to 4 innings last week, only gave up 1 run, 3 strikeouts. I caught most of this start. The slider, the changeup still looked good. That was kind of like the carrying thing with it. I think it's going to be a matter of seeing how the fastball plays because he kind of had to dial it back. He split it into like a 4-seam sinker kind of thing because his fastball out of college was a little more dead zone. So he split it into 2 to try to help it play better. Did help it play better, but like is like 92, 93 kind of thing. And it's kind of along the same lines of like Thomas Harrington. Harrington at least for a while had like the control and like the metrics kind of playing in his favor. I don't think either of those things are like to Carson Reed's strength. So he's really going to rely on the slider, really going to rely on the changeup. I still feel like long-term, maybe he's still probably better as a reliever, but there's still time to kind of work it out there. They're not going to be in a rush for a starter anytime soon, so you can kind of stretch it out with Reed as long as possible. But still feel like he's one of the more intriguing arms in the system just because of he went from reliever to starter. He was a reliever in college and then threw over 100 innings as a starter. Did really well last year, so interesting guy. Like I said, looks like he's just about all the way back from the whatever injury it was that he missed time with. I'd imagine he joins Altoona soon, and we'll really get an idea.
Cool. Who else?
Well, Steel City right here asked about Termar, says that he's been, I guess, going through a little bit of a rough stretch. Can you add any sort of insight on that?
I still think it's kind of like where Tamar's always been at, kind of working things out. To an extent, it kind of feels like maybe it's starting to feel like maybe the Pirates moved him a little bit quicker than maybe he was ready for, and maybe could have used some extra time at high A. I watch him, and it's still kind of like you see the pieces there, and you kind of just hope one day it's going to come together and he'll consistently show it. But like he just turned 21, right? I think he just turned 21.
Yeah.
So, and he's been at high A for a year plus now. So give him time. There'll be a lot of ups and downs and stuff like that with players like that. But I think it's also time to realize maybe like your best hope for someone like Tamar is a fringe average to average starter in the majors. That's probably the best case scenario that you're going to get out of it, which I think in the draft, if you can get anything like that, consistently, I think you do take it. So
just not what I think you probably want out of, a top 5 pick, but
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at a lot of top 5
you're
picks,
right. Like,
yeah, if you look at a lot of top 5 picks, if you got a guy who starts for you for a couple years and does it and holds his own in it, I think ultimately you take that with how big of a crapshoot the draft is, even if he was a top 5 pick.
Yeah. No, I feel like you're right. It's just this organization can't afford that too much right now.
I mean, that's
like they kind of need Tamar to be, and it's not fair to Tamar or whatever, but yeah, that's the unfortunate thing.
Well, I mean, I think also too that's why you look past the first round pick too, because like a lot of teams, if you get 1 or 2 contributors per draft and stuff like that, I think you're doing a fairly pretty good job at it. And you look at maybe start digging down through the rest of his draft and see if there's anyone else that's kind of there, because I believe that was the Thomas Harrington draft as well.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and to be fair, like they've done it, but it's all been on the pitching side.
Yeah. You need, and that's the tricky part too, because like they haven't invested too much after first round picks in like hitters. So like if they don't hit on these couple ones that they have, then they're kind of struggling. And like you look at maybe it's just going to take some time. It's taking time for Henry Davis and Nick Gonzalez to kind of get going. And like I don't even think you would even say that Henry, other than defensively, that Henry Davis has really gotten going completely yet. So, and they were college guys that were supposed to move super quickly and already be established and stuff like that.
Yep.
All right. Well, now that you just told everybody that Tamar Johnson's going to be a fringe major league player, let's end this with some good news here. Connor Griffin, first week in Greensboro. The dude put up another monster week. Is this the best hitting prospect that you've covered for the Pirates?
So if you go back to pretty much when I started doing this in depth back in 2021, yes, and it's becoming very like not even close kind of thing on here. I think
so. He surpassed Charles McAdoo.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
I think Andy Rodriguez probably had like one of the single best seasons in that time frame, like under Charrington. And he was able to move up from like Greensboro to Indianapolis. And I kind of feel like I hate to do the promotion thing, especially after a week here. But if there's anyone who's going to do like jump three levels in 1 year, it's probably going to be Connor at this point. Like he's showing everything at this right now.
Yeah, I guess to the people who are like, get him up here, get him up here, get him up here. Obviously, you still want him to work through the system and get here. But I mean, it is looking like he can get here pretty quickly. And if you're comparing him to other kind of guys who hit the ground running like he has, like I don't know if you can. Like I'm looking at Jackson Holiday as an example, right? And Holiday at this point in his career, this would have been his first full season. Holiday played 14 games in single A. Then he got bumped up to high A for 57 games, then double A for 36 games, and then ended up finishing the season in triple A, played 18 games there. Is that at all possible for Griffin this year, that it could be September and he's getting a cup of coffee in triple A? Or are we thinking that's just not how the Pirates are going to operate here?
I think at this point, the Pirates, at least going under Ben Charrington, I don't think they've had a prospect with this kind of level of upside and who's playing this well. So it's probably we don't have anything to go off of with it just yet. Talent wise, with the way he's playing, and I'd hate to say it after just a week in high A, but I feel the talent is there to you're pretty close to just throwing away the training wheels and being like, hey man, just go, just play. And once you look like you check all the boxes here, we're just going to keep pushing you. And I'm a big person. It's like once you're doing them a disservice if you're holding them back for too long, and if you just kind of shows that high A is not challenging enough, then just give them the push at this point. But I'm not gonna. I won't say that after a week that like it's
right.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, I
been a
mean Jackson
fantastic week,
Holiday.
though.
Yeah,
Jackson Holiday too
Holiday,
he was
went
like
about
first
2
overall
months.
pick, and he like this stuff that translates better to moving quickly through a system. He probably because like his big thing was like the hit tool. I think like they were giving him like 60 or 70 grades on the hit tool, like coming out and stuff like that. So obviously that's the kind of stuff that you'll probably see move quicker than like Griffin with like the Griffin obviously has the more louder tools with the power and the speed and everything like that. But I mean, even now we're seeing like the hit tool is better than what a lot of people said, and I think that's why anytime you kind of hear hit tool for a prep player, you kind of got to throw that out the window at this point, because everyone would be a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I just want to ask you real quick too.
Yeah.
After they drafted Connor Griffin, right? Did you think at any point on June 16th you'd be having a conversation of him potentially going to Altoona?
No.
Because like his big thing was like he's probably going to take time to develop, right?
Even going into the season, after seeing him a little bit in spring training, I thought there was a good chance that he may struggle initially in Bradenton, which I guess in a way he kind of did. Like he had about a week stretch where
where
it's kind of ugly, and then ever since then it's just kind of been out of this world. Like it's just insane just now thinking about the stuff that he's continually doing. Like I sit at my TV laughing now when it's like a base hit, another base hit. I just laugh now.
I think it's wild, like how quickly he's caught on and just been good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's impressive. He's been extremely impressive, and it takes a lot for someone to impress me at the lower levels at this point. Like because you've done a good job, I think, of like making sure people know that, hey, like we got to wait until they get to Altoona to get like too excited about him, but it's impossible not to get excited about Connor Griffin right now.
Yeah, the skill is just off the charts.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, Murphy, we appreciate you jumping on here. Where can people find your work?
Bucs on Deck, Substack. Yeah, we're going to be doing our mid-season update. The list is done. I just have to finish working, doing the write-ups and everything like that. Probably be out sometime next week. So check that out. See who's up, see who's down in the system. DK Pittsburgh Sports, do some daily stuff over there, and then Baseball America as well.
Good stuff. Good stuff, everybody. Make sure you subscribe to Bucs on Deck and follow Murphy on all socials. But appreciate you jumping on here, buddy.
Yeah, no problem, man. Thanks for having me.
All right. You have a good one.
As always.
All right.
See ya.
I just think your timing was off. When you dubbed
Right.
Jack Suwinski as Juan Soto Light, I think it was meant to be for Connor Griffin.
No, Connor Griffin's going to be like Bobby Wood Jr. We basically need him to be our Bobby Wood Jr.
I'm saying he's going to be in the majors at 19.
Oh, I mean, like
he might make the majors. He's not going to make the majors.
Probably not. But if anybody can do it, it's him. That means he would be up here in April of next year.
Yeah.
Which it's crazy to even think about it, but I think there's honestly a possibility of it happening.
There's no chance.
Probably not.
Right?
Probably not. But
it's funny that you're discussing it though.
It
is a chance.
It depends on how the rest of this. I mean, we're not even halfway through 2025, and we're legit talking about maybe being in AAA by the end of the year.
He's so good.
He's really
I
good.
know, like, I don't want to put a ton of pressure on him, and I mean everyone's already saying call him up. Let the kid develop. Let him develop. But yeah, you can't not be excited and want to see this kid, as soon as possible. Again, like I mean, I think we're all on board. This is going to take time. Like he's a project. There's a lot of tools, but it's a project. And can the Pirates develop this project? There's a question. And here we are on June 16th. He's in Greensboro already, and we're talking. Is it time for Altoona? Crazy, but good for him. Good for Connor Griffin.
Yeah,
And the Pirates.
6 games in Greensboro last week. He hit 2 homers. He hit 407. He slugged 778, and he stole 6 bases. DiNardo, like, just the numbers are insane.
Yep,
they're insane. He had 9. He had
over 30 on
11
the
hits
season already.
He had 11 hits last week, 4 doubles, 2 homers, and he stole 6 bases.
We jokingly said, like, it's stupid. Stop talking about calling up Connor Griffin to the majors for the casuals. Like it's not going to translate. I'm not here to say it's going to translate, but what I am here saying is, of the 22 players, he's probably not going to finish in the bottom half. we
That's
talked
true.
about the 22 players that the Pirates have rostered, right? I think he could still finish in the top half of the major leaguers that the Pirates have taken at
You're
bat this
probably
year.
correct. Yeah, you're probably correct.
Any rate, cool. So yeah, let's talk about the major league team. Let's talk about this Tigers series preview a little bit before we go. I mean, I'll put it this way. We've talked heat check, the Padres, the Cubs. The pitching has done their job. The Tigers are a good team. They have bats. They certainly have pitching, and we're going to see one of those pitchers. If you guys love and appreciate Paul Skeens, in air quotes, as the best pitcher on the planet, well, Tigers fans are probably telling you that guy's Skubal, and Skubal's having a tremendous year. And honestly, all bias aside, he's having a better year than Paul Skeens.
It depends on how you. It depends on how you measure that.
It is. I think objectively he probably is, but again, it's certainly a debate. And it's not taken away from Paul Skeens or anybody. Those are two tremendous pitchers. So
it would be
unfortunately,
awesome. It would be awesome to see both of them face off against each other. They're going to miss each other by a day, because that would be incredible to see Skubal versus Skeens. But yeah, we're gonna miss it by a day.
We are. I can't imagine Paul Skeens and Skubal going head to head, and Paul Skeens losing a game where he had 0 earned runs.
A Skubal Skeens game might be over in 75 minutes.
Right. But anyway, Skubal's going 8, and he's breaking Kerry Wood's record, right? Is that confirmed?
He's as good as anybody right now. Like when we talk about Paul Skeens and how like he's so good, and we talk about him a ton, but we still probably don't talk about him enough. Tarek Skubal's the same way with Detroit. It's just like this guy's been so insanely good now for 2.5 years or so. And it just seems to be every start he's going out there and he's giving them 7, 8 innings, and he's striking out 10, 11, 12. He's been really, really impressive. He just, again, he does, like, I guess he is more prone to like the blow up than Skeens, he has had starts where he's given up 5 runs and 4 runs. Like, I guess there's that to him, but he does just seem to consistently put up like 8 innings, 1 run, 12 strikeouts, stuff like that.
Yep. I'm excited to watch him. Casey Mize having another good year also as well. They're going to face Casey Mize. So tough pitching on Detroit side coming into this. And again, the offense is also pretty good. But again, like I'm not worried about that. The pitching staff has done it for quite some time. Paul Skeens will be pitching. Andrew Heaney will be pitching. Bailey Falter will be pitching. And again, like Heaney and Falter have been doing it for a substantial amount of time right now. Like these aren't guys that just carry over and give you five innings where like, hey, this team's in it. Like they've been out there winning baseball games, shutting down offenses. the pitching, like again, like I don't really care who's taking them out. Paul Skeens I care about because it's like that's showtime. But it's like I don't care because every game's winnable. It feels like on the pitching side of things. It comes down to the hitters. Once again, we just discussed how many are above average. It's just 2. So if any one of those 2 have an off day, it's pretty much over with.
Yeah, and I mean it shapes up. I mean, this Detroit lineup, it's pretty lefty heavy. So that kind of makes you feel good going Falter and Heaney as well. Like Parker Meadows is left-handed, Riley Green's left-handed, Colt Keith, Kerry Carpenter are left-handed. So you hope that maybe you get a couple games where like they're platooning those guys. It's I feel like the matchup's good here, even though the Tigers are arguably the best team in baseball. You like Skeens versus Montero, as the last game there of that series as well. You need to figure out a way to take one of these first 2 games though, and then give Skeens the chance to win the series on Thursday. I think that's the play here. Figure out a way to beat Mize or Scooble. And however that looks
hear
like
yourself.
that's
So you have
what
to
I
beat
hear
Mize.
myself. That's what I hear myself saying. Figure out a way
Load
to
up
beat one of those.
Tuesday, try to beat Mize because Wednesday game over.
Let's try to beat Mize. Let's just do that. Lots of first overall picks too on display this series between Torkelson, Mize, Skeens, and Davis. You have four first overall picks on display this series.
And I was going to say too, like the parallels. There's going to be some of this, but Henry Davis, he was known he's going to be hitter. He's going to be here quick. His calling card's hitting, and he hasn't done so. And on the other side, Torkelson kind of was that for the Tigers, and Torkelson's torn up. And there's been a little bit of comparisons, early on in the season already between those 2. But yeah, Torkelson's tearing it up right now. 130 weighted runs created plus. I'm sorry, 131. He's got 16 home runs. Like he's become that dude. It took a long time for him. I don't know if we can afford Henry Davis to take that long to do it as well. But yeah, going to the parallels on the 1-1 picks also. But also, how about Javi Baez? Like resurgence, he's somehow back. Kind of crazy, but yeah, he fell off the face of the earth. Just a terrible player. We all see those videos and memes on Twitter wherever you get him, all the pitches he swings at, and of course he's always been that. But he's been a really, really bad hitter, bad player, and all of a sudden now he's a 114 weighted runs created plus. He's batting 280 on the year, only striking out 22% of the time. Javi Baez, he's back.
I mean, he's always been a really talented individual. It's just you always kind of saw just there's a big hole in his swing, and
it's not even larger.
Yeah, I guess it's working right now. Like there's a he went through a couple of years where that hole in his swing was impacting him a ton, and this year it doesn't seem to be as much. So yeah, he's finally earning that paycheck that Detroit paid him. It's been a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's
playing good defense too. Like
he's having a good, he's always been really good defensively. So he provides value in many ways, and the fact that he's hitting this year is big for Detroit. It's definitely playing a part in what they're doing.
For sure. So prediction?
Yeah, I'm gonna say they take 1 out of 3 here. That's kind of the hope. I was listening to the radio broadcast while I was at the game yesterday, and one of the things that they mentioned was like, man, you would have loved to have taken 2 out of 4 against Chicago, because like that sets you up for either like a really good road trip or like an okay road trip if you take 2 out of 4 against the Cubs. And now you're set up to have either a bad road trip or a pretty bad road trip. Like it's going to end up being a pretty bad road trip for the Pirates, because they weren't able to split that series with the Cubs. Because, even if you take 2 out of 3 here, you still went 3-4. But 2 out of 3 here is going to be tough.
For sure. 2 out of 3 against any team is kind of tough.
Yeah.
But, Jim, Donnie Ball, baby. Donnie Ball's returning to Detroit. So's Gene Lamont. Right, we got a little revenge game coming from the manager.
Could be
the
a
benches.
a bench revenge game. Yeah,
They're going to outmanage the Tigers, baby, and lead this team to victory. No, I'm with you.
Maybe,
It's one if they're lucky. Just simply because we talk about the pitching matchups. There's two that are, and one especially. It's their Paul Skeens. We're as comfortable and confident as game 3 that Paul can take. Well, that's game 2 for them. And we've seen that when Paul takes the mound, doesn't always equate to wins for the Pirates either. So, yeah, Paul Skeens is going to have, again, he's going to throw 8, give you 1 earned run, and lose. I'm going 1 out of 3. Somehow they'll find a way to win one game. It's going to be the Scuba game. They're going to have like 20 runs that game.
They'll beat Scuba like 5-1, and then they won't score the rest of the series.
Right. But, oh well. Anyway, anything else you want to talk about before we wrap up and get out of here?
No, I think that's everything. Appreciate everybody getting up early and listening and watching to us. Hopefully, hopefully we can turn things around and win a game here.
That's right.
And need some offense.
Another thing too, Jim, before we get out of here, let's tell everyone a little bit. It's not going to be this week, but next week we're going to have a little special. We're going to have our draft show, like preview, pretty much we have every year. And then I think this now be the 3rd year in a row. We're going to have our special guest back on, Jim Callis from MLB. So not this week, but the following week we'll be having Jim Callis on to talk about this upcoming draft. That's going to be fun and exciting, right?
That'll be fun. That's always one of the more exciting shows is just kind of getting to know, hey, who's going to be around when the Pirates pick, who should we get to kind of start reading up on, and the names that we should know. And last year, I mean, kind of nailed the Connor Griffin pick. That was a few weeks before. It was like, hey, Connor Griffin's there. That's who they're going with. And so we talked about him quite a bit. So yeah, let's see if we can nail this pick too.
Yeah, like he's actually done very well on that. Because I mean, the first year also wasn't a no-brainer. It was Cruz or Skeens, and he was like, fellas, you gotta go Skeens here. And he was right there. Yeah. He nailed Connor. So yeah, interested to find out what he has to say about this year. So yeah. So tune in next not this week, but the week after. We'll have Jim Callis on from MLB to discuss the upcoming draft. So with that being said, no game today. So we'll be back tomorrow with the post-game show. We'll see you guys then. Bye-bye.
See you guys.
All right, that wraps up this episode of North Shore 9. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whether you're listening on the podcast or catching us on YouTube, if you enjoyed the show, please give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It really helps us grow. And if you're listening on the podcast, a quick review goes a long way in helping others find the show. Plus, be sure to tell a friend about us. There's always room for more here in the NS9 community. And for those looking to support us a little more, consider joining our Patreon, become an MVP member, and get exclusive perks while helping us continue to bring you more of the Pirates content you love. Thanks again for all your support, and let's go Bucs.